Good morning. We're going to look at tours and travel products and services by Madam Maura Morechi. So let's look at the characteristics of the tourism and travel products. One, you have intangibility, the word tangible. Hence, we have the word intangibility means you cannot touch it, but you can be able not touch it or feel it, but we can be able to experience it. Then next we go to perishability. Perishability means that it can easily go bad and it cannot be renewed once lost. Next, we go to variability. Variability from the word they vary, variables, which means they cannot be the same everywhere. They vary from time to time. In that, we also have seasons in the tourism industry. We'll talk about later as we go on. We'll understand this more. So intangibility means the product cannot be directly seen, tested, or felt before its purchase and consumption. Therefore, there is no transfer of ownership, which means a single product can be sold multiple times, e.g., a hotel room. Now, let's look at perishability. An unsold airline ticket to a hotel room or a missed opportunity. Hence, they cannot be recovered as the money is lost. So, if you are having a hospitality industry, you are in the hotel or maybe the tourism industry, you however fail to get a client, that thing has gone perishable. That service is gone perishable. You cannot be able to do it again. Once the time is lost or time for occupancy for that day is lost, you cannot be able to regain it. Maybe until the other day or maybe another season. So now that is a picture of a flight that has gone unbooked. So we can see we have somebody in the back seat. We can able to see a leg there. That person has occupied that seat, but in front we have 2 rows unoccupied, so that is perishable. It has gone like that. The flight has gone, so it cannot be reversed. That money at that time is lost. So that is one characteristics of products in the tourism industry. So that's how they become perishable. Yes, they are not as fruits, but I believe now we are in the same line. So variability simply means that tourism products vary in season. We have the high peak and the low peak season. So for example, during the wide-based migration, we are at our high peak because most tourists are having their winter. So that is advantageous on our side. It is our high peak. But on their side, if you want to go there, it's a low peak because people don't want to go to the snow. But they will want to come and experience the wild-beast migration. So that becomes our high peak. So we expect a lot of guests. So that season varies. But during our time where there's no wild beast, there is no much wildlife, it's raining, so you cannot be able to see a lot of wildlife. So that becomes our low peak season. So during the December time, that is our high peak. Up to early February there, it is our high peak because there it is winter. But during our time, we are having our summer. So I believe we are at one par there. So let's go to the components of tourism travel products. So one, we have the attractions. You must have transportation. How will I be able to get to this destination? By which means of transport? Next, we should have accommodation. Where will we spend the night? Will we pitch a tent or will we sleep in a lodge, a villa, or a good hotel? Then you should have auxiliary services that should accompany it. Will I be able to get something? Will I be able to use the supermarkets? Will I be able to buy something, souvenirs? These are other extra services or other activities that should be there. Will I be able to have a hot air balloon? We shall be able to see an example of that. And how will I get there? Will I get there by plane? Will I get there by a bicycle, a motorbike? So that is what we mean by accessibility, because some roads can be unpassable and it will be really, really scary for you to go to a place and not be able to reach that destination. You have planned that itinerary and we find that road very inaccessible. So these are things that you should be very considerate about. So now that is an example of an attraction. So what guests might want to see. Will they want wildlife tourism? Are they interested in beach tourism? You can be able to take them to Mombasa if that's the attraction they want to see. They just want the sun and the sand. Now, will they want to experience the hot air balloon? So if they want the hot air balloons, which is that is what they want. That is the attraction that brought them all the way. So if they want to see the lake, you can take them to Lake Victoria. You can be able to take them to Lake Turkana. We have Lake Naivasha. If they want to see flamingos, they want mountain climbing, you know which place to take them to, Mount Kenya, and so on. So now that is an example of a hot air balloon, and I've just mentioned it that it's found mostly in the Masai Mara is where they normally have this hot air balloon. So instead, and also, my dear students, when you want to sell that attraction, you should be able to consider it. Look at where it is found, and look in advance how much they charge. So it would be very disappointing for clients going outside their budget because you did not give them the first-hand information of what they expect to see and how much it will cost by just giving them a rough figure. And they also need to know that some things they can only experience them, yeah, they cannot be able to carry it. Like some may tempt you and tell you they want that hot air balloon, but you know that is beyond their reach. So you should not be tempted to tell them, yeah, you can be able to get it and buy it, by in real sense they won't be able. So that disappointment may lead you to a downfall in the number of guests that you'll want to have. They will not be able to trust you again because you've lost their trust, and they'll say that you just brush them off and tell them anything just for your own sake. So place for tours and travel should be accessible by road, by air, should have a means of transport, should have an accommodation, and should have auxiliary services. So by auxiliary services, I know what I mean right now. We've talked about other services. Will they be able to get a salon? Will they be able to buy something else? Will they be able to get activities like boat rowing and similar activities such as that? Also, by accessibility, you should have also, when we talk about accessibility, you should have a backup plan. As a tour guide, ensure that you have either a spare wheel or something, or a jack for emergency, yeah? In case that there is not accessibility, you can be able to pitch a tent and begin from there. So now that is an example of an accommodation service, yeah? You can be able to get a room to sleep, and that room should be within the budget. Then as we've discussed before, yeah, that should be in the components. Yeah, a good accommodation facility is very, very, very vital. So now this is an example of a man going to a destination alone, lost. You don't know that there's no road. I believe there is also a trouble in the communication, so it should be so bad for you to be stranded in the middle of nowhere. Now, what are the characteristics of tourism services? Can you be able to remember? So we talked about intangibility. Yes, we've talked about perishability. We've talked about perishability. We've talked about intangibility. We've talked also about variability, yeah? But there's also one that you should also find out, and we shall discuss that in our next lesson. That one is about the variability, means they vary in season, but one they cannot be consistent, yeah, because service can be felt, they can be different. So this area will be able to offer this, but this other area will not be able to offer it to the utmost. So my good students, the characteristics are very, very large. So we should be able to know all of them. Thank you.